Dude, I love that funky stuff, man.
Thanks,
man. You got a lot of cool stuff, which we're definitely going to talk about. I'm excited about it. So, guys, cool day today. You got Andrew Freed here, and Andrew is a bass player. You also play guitar. You play upright, and you also teach at the same place I used to teach at Mike's Music in Ellicott City.
That I do.
Yeah, man. So, you know, you have had a lot of success lately. And what kind of brought my attention to you, even though I know you from Mike's Music, from these videos you've been making on Facebook. Like, what do you have, like 3 million views on there now? What is it?
Oh, I've had a lot of luck and very grateful. The past couple of videos I've had, reached past 1 million views. The latest one hit 1.5 in a week.
That's incredible, dude.
Yeah, man, I'm really pumped and definitely a little shocked, but it's definitely something that I'm really excited about.
Well, you're a great player, and like for you guys that don't know, we'll put links in the comments, and I think I already linked your page. You can go check it out.
Awesome.
But in these videos, kind of what you do is you kind of do like mashups or like fresh takes on, like, you explain it.
So basically I've only been doing the video thing for a couple months. I've done some videos just playing bass, done some things, but the past ones that have been successful, I've been playing bass and guitar, kind of split screen kind of thing.
Right.
I've been taking just things that I find very popular and kind of putting my own twist on them. So for example, like my latest one was the Harry Potter theme, but I completely rocked it out and funked it out and did some kind of crazy things to it while still staying true to, oh, that's the Harry Potter theme, and people seem to like that, and I'm very grateful. Yeah.
What do you think? And we'll get to, the gigging and playing thing, just because I'm so curious, because, there aren't many of us that, at least in this area, are people that I talk to that come through. They're in kind of this online world that
totally.
What have you found works for you, besides you just being you and doing whatever, you want to do?
So, I've found that it's kind of, I feel like there's definitely some social media awareness that, like, naturally, that I find that I have in terms of, like, okay, like, I'm not going to be posting just every day or random things because I need to put out content. It's things that I'm really spending a lot of time on and
Right.
thinking about. I swear, some of the videos I've put out, I've thought about more than actually like practicing and putting work into it. It's just thinking in my head like, ooh, like what do I really like? And it didn't start as like, ooh, what will people like? And now it's starting to evolve to that, like, because ooh, like people are liking this, but originally it was just me wanting to rock out Harry Potter or take classical music.
The
and,
Beethoven
you know,
one you did, how long did it take you to put that together, dude?
You know, it didn't.
And getting all the parts.
It didn't take as long as.
Because that thing is killer. That's my favorite one.
Thanks, man. Yeah, no, I just as a teacher, I taught the classics from, you know, Burleigh to Hall and the Mountain King, whether it be on, you know, guitar version and upright bass version, and it just every time I kind of hear them, I always have this like, this kind of, it's a problem. It's funny. Some of my friends used to joke with me. It's like everything, like I would just always put kind of like a beat or like beatbox, something funky or rocking out behind it, and now it's what I'm doing, and it's awesome. It's a lot of fun.
Keep doing it, man.
Thanks.
Keep doing it for sure. Like I was telling you off camera, anything that's working that people are liking, keep doing more of it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? You're definitely
totally
on to something. So I'm impressed, dude. That's a hell of a lot of views,
Thanks,
and
man.
you're a really, really good player.
Really appreciate it.
And you know, for you guys, maybe you didn't pick up on it. So you play bass and you play guitar, and in these
Yeah.
videos, you're doing both.
Yes. So I definitely, you know, I started playing bass first, but and my parents were musicians. There's guitars, basses laying around. So I always played guitar, but I started teaching it too, and then we've talked about too, kind of like, you know, like, oh, like as a bass player, did you approach it like a guitar? Did you approach guitar like a bass player and all this stuff? But now that I teach it and I've studied it, I play a lot of guitar, and I love the guitar. The bass was my first instrument, but the guitar was the type of thing where it's like I could have played the guitar in these videos, and it just been me doing bass. But I really have so much fun playing it, and I think people would appreciate seeing me do both parts in terms of, you know, like showcasing the guitar and the bass, because some of them are pretty guitar heavy. Some parts, it's, you know, I try to keep the videos short and sweet, you know, a couple minutes long.
I need to work on
that.
that. No, but it's true. You know, you really do both well. And, you know, I wanted to hear you kind of elaborate on this, because every time I pick up a bass, I feel like I sound like a guitar player. I'm playing bass like a guitar player. And I have to really get in the mindset of, you know, I have different goals. You know, like it's a totally different thing. And you teach both and you play both. Can you talk a bit about how, like, you know, how you view them differently, like within a band or within a group?
Absolutely.
And like what you know, what guitar players maybe that also play bass could do differently to not just sound like guitar players playing bass?
Totally, yeah. So guitar players playing bass is definitely a thing amongst bass players. But
Of course it is.
yeah, but so it really comes down to your roots. And what I mean is, where are your strengths? And like for me, like rhythm was something that was natural, like rhythmically, like ooh, like feeling rhythm.
Right.
You know, just being able to, you know, sometimes I didn't have to always like learn certain things I was going about, and it would just feel natural in terms of, you know, if I was being funky and just kind of like laying into a pocket, and that was instantly applied on guitar. So of course, once you get around the basics of, most bass players use their fingers, and then if you're playing bass, you got to get used to using a pick. And then guitar players, I find a lot, guitar players that tend to do finger picking style or classical music, they try to apply that concept to bass, and it's just such a different approach.
Just doesn't
You
translate.
need to be a little more aggressive. I always tell my students there's a difference between like aggression and like dynamics. Like you need to like, you can't be too subtle with this instrument as much as you can, but you need to, I find that guitar players have a tendency to kind of
Not dig
really,
in as much.
not dig in as much. Their approach is just different. I think it just comes down to technical fundamentals, and that's the thing. I think like, ooh, like technique is so much more important, I find, on the bass than it is on the
Interesting.
guitar. You know, guitar players definitely, I knew some badass guitar players that have a tendency, you know, their hands crazy, you don't know what the heck they're doing, but it sounds awesome. Bass players, you can see some great ones, but you find a lot of the good ones have really good technique.
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense. And, you know, the bass is bigger, it's wider, the
That's it.
strings are better, like they're fatter. Like you have to use more force.
Yeah.
You know, I feel, especially, you know, to develop your vibrato and, you know, slides and stuff like that on the bass. Like every time I play bass, it's not unlike when I play piano. Like I'm kind of like sore afterwards a little bit, you know, because I'm not used to playing that hard.
Yeah, no,
You know?
it's definitely. As I say, it's hard. Is when I say hard, or you say hard, it basically means like, just from a guitar player, which I find a very delicate instrument. You know, you can really do some crazy stuff on the guitar, and it doesn't take too much effort, especially if you're playing on distortion or depending on the scenario. But with bass, there's again a technical, fundamentals you need to have in order to, I feel like, be seen as a bass player. I can always tell when someone that person probably plays guitar too, or as I said, some of my favorite bass players, I'm never hating on bass players that use picks or that had quote bad technique. As someone who's a teacher and tries to teach correct technique, it's abiding by certain rules, and as opposed to just some people using one finger per fret and all that stuff. That's probably not the best way to go about it. But if you can pull it off and it sounds good, it doesn't matter. That's the beauty of music.
Right, for sure. Now, so if you're a guitar player and you're playing bass, what's one thing specifically you think that we should work on? We talked a little bit off camera about it, but I feel we get stuck playing from root to root to root because we're so used to always having the root in the bass and the chords that we're playing because we're trying to make up that sound.
Yeah.
And you were kind of talking about walking bass lines kind of being like a core differentiator. You know what I mean? Something like that. Can you talk about that for a little bit?
It's the most important thing, and that I talk about with all my students in terms of killing so many birds with the same stone, memorizing your fretboard, being able to visualize, being able to really understand all about the chords and the arpeggios, triads, all that stuff.
I'm just checking this camera.
Yeah, go ahead, man. It really, a lot of guitar players definitely can benefit from learning a bass player's approach to how they think about music. So say we're going to be playing a certain progression, whether it's 1 chord, 2 chords, or 4 chords.
Right.
We want to be able to, guitar players think so what are the chords? I'm going to play them. Bass players are thinking, what are these chords? I'm going to outline them.
Yeah, dude, you are right. That is a big difference.
So outlining the chords, but I think as a guitar player and a bass player, it kind of helps because when I'm playing guitar, instead of sometimes just playing the actual chord, whether it's a chord, an inversion, but playing the chord, my brain is also thinking, I know what makes up this chord, and I know how to play it here, and here, and here, and here, and here, and the creative and unique ideas that come from being able to play and outline in different areas of your neck and starting your first, second, third, fourth finger just gives you more, as I said, creative and unique ideas, and you never get that kind of, everyone always gets it, but you don't get that plateauing, stuck in a box like feeling that all of us hit many times in our music career.
Well, let's see if we can figure out an example. How about if I play something simple, like maybe 2 chords,
cool.
And then you kind of start simple, like playing Rudy stuff, like our guitar players would tend to do, and then see if you can put some lines in, expand on it a little bit.
Absolutely.
How about you do like something reggae-ish, like A minor and G major?
Sounds good.
All right, let's see here. So.
So
you're a good reggae player, man.
well, I've played in funk bands. I've played in funk bands that we've definitely done some reggae stuff. And reggae, as a bass player, you definitely need to know those fundamentals because there's a lot of root to 5 stuff.
Yeah.
And I was trying to, keeping in mind what we just talked about and applying that, like I was being.
It's exactly what I wanted you to do. Yeah, talk about it.
Exactly, like you take 2 chords, and if we're outlining them, I'm thinking the first thing that goes through my mind is what is it? Use your ear. You see, some people need to know what it is. What are we playing? And then kind of just let's lock into it. So roots. That is the ultimate bass player's original role. Like,
right.
Historically, like we were just meant to play roots and create that low end. And then, it evolved to outlining more. So, you're playing an A minor as a bass player. I want to know how to play A minor, those triads, in every way on my bass.
Right.
I also consider the 7th chord too. And even if you're not playing a 7th chord, I can think of that flat 7 in my lines because we need motion to it. So we can use that to resolve leading everywhere. So I think a lot of just, okay, so I'm an A minor, G major. They're right next to each other. And then once you cram, I promise any bass player, any guitar player, once you obsess and master your triads and your arpeggios and your 7th chords, that's where the fun really starts because you don't have to be I'm not thinking like, ooh, A, C, E, G. I just know. And then that's when your ear becomes your friend. And that's when you become an artist, I feel like. Is when you do all this learning, you study so much, years and years and months and hours of practice. And then when it comes to applying it, I promise, I try to tell my students is that the payoff is immense because you can literally, you can just jam. I've never jammed with you before.
Right.
And, we didn't plan to play A minor, G. And it's just, so I mean, it's, I can't say it enough that the outlining of the chords for both guitar and bass help, I think, and I think a lot of guitar players don't think that way.
For me personally, I feel like the thing that really got me to cross over from I play guitar to I feel really comfortable on the instrument expressing myself was learning triads.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like if anybody could learn one thing, I know it's the same on bass, but if you could focus on one thing is if you just know, even if it's just all your majors and minors, everywhere, just all your little clusters everywhere, I feel like that, and more than anything for me, made all the difference in, can I actually have fun playing anywhere on the neck? Can I move around as opposed to, I got my lick right here.
Yes, that's the thing.
And never shall it move.
Yes, that's the guitar players. That's such a guitar player thing. Like, just like, oh, I got this lick, I could do it here, but, what if you shifted to a different key? I could just move up a couple frets, but you'd be surprised if you could do that lick in many different ways. You're in a different register, different notes around there. You're gonna just inevitably have a different approach if you're gonna be playing, around that lick or like, just in your surroundings. And it's so that's funny. It really is a guitar player.
We're so guilty of it. Like you learn one thing,
I am too,
and it's good.
Yeah.
You stick with it.
Yeah.
No,
totally.
It's definitely. But there's also, like you said before, it's kind of the beauty of music. There are players that made incredible careers. They're amazing musicians, incredibly expressive and dynamic. Never left the minor pentatonic scale.
Some of my favorite.
Like ever, and even just leave the scale, leave their patterns.
Yeah.
Ever.
And I love it. I mean, it's everyone. It's
there's no right or wrong, but you are right that is a guitar-ish eccentricity.
Absolutely. I mean, it's uncanny. It's every guitar player has had a definitely, stuck in the box moment.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, that leads me to my next question, which is, being that you play both guitar and bass and you teach both and you're in bands where you do both this, that, and the other, what can guitar players, I asked my buddy Sean that came in here, not too long ago, the same thing, what can guitar players do to sync better with bass players? Like, what do we do that maybe, beyond what we just spoke about, that we all seem to do a lot that maybe hinders you, or what is some stuff that we really, if there's one thing we could do to be, better bandmates with bass players?
Yeah, that's a great question, but also a tough one. It's very scenario-based, meaning
of course it is. Player-based, genre-based,
exactly.
all that stuff.
And it depends on the music you're playing, depends on the type of play you play. Like, someone like, that's definitely a tough one to answer. I can come up with ways to say it, but just on the top of my mind, what it comes off with is just really getting a vibe for what type of player they are. Like obviously, like in my videos and stuff, I have a tendency to be more flashing stuff in the videos because in my bands I can't do that. I mean, I could, but let's be real.
That's not the gig.
That's not the gig. I'm not slapping or doing ghost notes or sweeping and stuff in my bands because that's not my role. But if there's one thing a guitar player could learn, or vice versa, it's just getting a feel. You can instantly tell if you're a musician that just the type of player, instantly when they pick up and start playing a couple notes, ooh, are they like a really busy player? Do they have a tendency to kind of want to showcase themselves and show you ooh, this is especially if you're playing with someone for the first time, is this someone trying to be yeah, check how good am I, or someone trying to really listen to you, lock in? They're really scenario based, and it comes out there. Sometimes if you find someone that might not be too, if you're on a certain level and someone is more intermediate beginner, you can then kind of pick up the slack and maybe be a little more rhythmic and percussive and busy on either instrument. If someone's crazy good and all that stuff, maybe just lay back and sit back and kind of absorb, and then when they give you it's all in the musician, their vibe, and their kind of just aura of how they connect with others.
You bring up a really, really good point. And, I kind of asked, what we can do better, but the true answer is it's about the other person.
Yeah.
It's about the other people in the band.
That's the answer.
Yeah. It's about listening, getting a feel for the context, that what genre, what the players like this, that, and the other, and then finding the best way to mesh with that.
Yeah.
Instead of, trying to find everybody drive towards whatever your strengths might be.
Exactly.
That's you made my day.
Well, you hit it on the nail. So
No, because that's it, man. Because I was sitting here thinking, and I'm like, all right, we'll do an A minor to G thing, and it just so happens with reggae, you kind of just, and even with funk stuff too, I feel like it's so easy as a guitar player to break past, just basic chord shapes and just hitting those beats, you know, but because I want you to do all the stuff that you're doing, it wouldn't make sense for me to play some really busy stuff or a bunch of complicated stuff at all, even if we're having fun, you know? And so to hear you say that it's really about, getting to feel for the other people, that's what a good musician would say. That's awesome. All right, so let's talk about everybody's favorite subject, which is your gear, right? So you play a Fender jazz bass.
Yes.
What's the story with that?
Story is, I haven't had it for long. I've had it for a year. I got it set up, and I suggest this to any musician. Doesn't matter what instrument. Get it set up. Take it to someone so you can play it to a way you want to play. Say if you like low action, you like strings, you like. Just make sure that you experiment with everything till you find where you're comfortable.
What if people don't know what they like? Or they're kind of intermediate, or they just got their first nice instrument. What would you say to them?
I would say that, especially too, because sometimes getting a guitar set up costs money and all that stuff. I would just say, then it's kind of, that's fine. If you can't, then keep playing on what you have. An analogy you use is it's ooh, say you're on deck and you're swinging out. Baseball players, they put on the heavy weight for their bat, so they're swinging it. But then when they take it off, it feels light. If you're practicing on an instrument that's maybe, that it might not be the one for you in terms of when you're pursuing it as a hobby or as a career. But keep practicing it, get good, and then until you hit that level. Or I just hit a year and a half ago. I was playing on the same bass for 10 years, and it's a great bass. But until I got this, I didn't realize that. Ooh, wow! This really got me to that next level in terms of just feel and groove.
It was fighting you a little too much.
Yeah. So I would just say just keep at it until you hit that point where I did, and it's just if you're an intermediate player and you don't know, just keep playing what you got. You can always learn whether it's something you're comfortable with. That's something subtle. And so I got this bass a year ago. On guitar, I've been playing the same guitar since 8th grade. I got an Epiphone Les Paul Ultra, and it's all my friends joke. They have guitars that are twice as much money.
Yeah.
Just sound and supposed to sound better in terms of just critically acclaimed, but it sounds so good, and it's everyone people come over and they record with my guitar, and they have Gibsons that are thousands of dollars, and they use my Epiphone. So it's all about the feel and how you
and
like
there
it,
are
and,
magic guitars out there that are
cheap.
That's how I feel about this one. This thing is such a beater.
Oh, it's a
Look at my
bullet.
job here. I got this from Mike, by the way.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, for like $250, and look, the truss rod's coming out the back. The neck is broken
It
off.
looks a little ghetto.
Oh, dude, it's so good. Every time I bring it out, someone's like, "What the hell is that thing?"
Or a lot of love.
Yeah, and Lee has dressed the frets like 3 times and put new frets in it like once.
That's funny.
It's just crazy. But anyhow, it's the cheapest thing I own.
And it plays great.
And it plays great. And it
Yeah,
sounds
so-
great. So like, if you have something, like you've been playing since 8th grade, there's no reason to change that.
Yeah, no, I got in 8th grade. It sounds great. So yeah, the gear. I definitely want to make that noted. That gear really, like, I wasn't like a gearhead. I was kind of like just a plug and play dude. I wanted to just bring my bass, plug in, bring my guitar. Didn't even have a distortion pedal. Would be like playing and then like pressing the distortion on the amp. Like just wanted to play. And get an instrument you like. This Fender. It's a American Elite Fender jazz bass. They just came out last year. It was brand new.
Now, why'd you go with that one?
Well, I love the sound of the Fender jazz bass. It's funny, a lot of my students, especially the young ones, you'd think, oh, Fender jazz, you'd think it's for jazz music.
Right.
Completely not. It's versatility in the Fender jazz bass I like. I played a Warwick, which is a bass company. Excellent. Love Warwick. But I found it definitely in terms of like when I played with cover bands or I played with like my hip hop band or my funk band, sometimes it didn't get the tone that I desired. And this is definitely a beast where it's just completely versatile. You can play any genre with it. It's got an 18-volt active preamp, which I mainly keep on passive because it's such a beast. It's powerful.
Yeah, too much.
I don't use too many pedals when I play. I use some compression. It's really good.
He's got 2 pedals over here, guys. He's got a compression and a super octave. That's it. I'll put a picture up on Instagram so you guys can see.
I like the compression because from someone who tends to be very slap oriented and can do some kind of things that involve a aggressive attack. Compression's good. It basically, limits those peaks, keeps everything a balanced sound. Octave pedal I don't use too much. It adds a little bit of beef. I keep it on a low setting. This amp though, I got.
Yeah, let's talk about the amp.
So
here.
this I just got, and this is my true love. I love Aguilar. It's basically they make bass amps. If you're a bass player, they really are kind of like a sought after amp. Everyone wants one. I have the Tonehammer 500. This amp.
Good name, the Tonehammer.
Yeah, it can power more than this. It can power more than this. I can have 2 of them, and that would be a true beast. This is just a 112 cabinet. This is an awesome amp though, where it just has such a good preamp in it. Like when you plug it in DI, it just sounds so crystal clear before adding anything to your mix.
Right.
It's got just so much control. You have the mids, the trebles. It's got 2 mid frequencies. It's got a level and then a frequency. It's also got a drive if you want to add some grit to your playing. It's got a pad for the hollow.
Does the drive sound good?
It's not really like. Adding a blend. It's not. You're never supposed to like. Ooh, this is my distortion pedal now. Like I turn it all the way up, but if you add it kind of halfway, it adds a little a little bit of grit. Just add some grit to it, but I don't use that too much. But it's still new, and as I said, I love Aguilar.
Are these solid state?
What's up?
Is the amp solid state?
I don't even know. I genuinely don't. I researched. As I said, I'm not the biggest gear guy. I really just.
So funny. I'm not either, man.
I really researched it. I found what I loved and I bought it. You don't need to know all that stuff. I'm as I do all these videos and stuff, I've learned all recording and I get the right equipment, but still the little specs and all that stuff. I don't even want to. I'm just gonna say I don't know for the fact that it's gonna dive into more questions of which I just say buy things that you think sound good. It doesn't always matter.
What the brand is, what the stuff.
Even as this
if
brand
it sounds good and feels good. Now, what do these go for? Are these expensive?
Yeah, they're pretty expensive. Between the amp and the cab, it could run you probably around like $1,300 to $1,600. The amps.
That's not that bad.
That's not that bad, but you're not going to bring this amp to if you're playing at a huge venue, So
yeah.
That's the thing. A lot of you can get a pretty big meaty cab and stuff for that price, and it will be able to power you through, for a bigger venue. But basically, this has some power behind it. Don't get me wrong, it can power, but you usually want the real dream scenario is both of these,
Mm-hmm.
and the 500. See, that they have a tone hammer 350 watt, and that could power this. But I got the 500 because I'm gonna get another one, eventually. But as I said, even if I knew the answer to that question, I'm more just avoiding it because I don't want to talk too much about gears and specs.
I love that you don't know the answer to that question.
I'm no shame. My friends definitely know that. It's funny. Like when it comes to like cars and all this, and cars and technical stuff, I'm not where my strengths lie. Even though I'm learning, I could record. I've learned a lot of the recording and the video and the audio and video world. But when it comes to kind of like specs and some nerdy stuff, my nerdiness lies in other areas.
Gotcha. Now, when you do your videos online, how do you get your audio?
So I do use the Tone Hammer 500. If any bass players are curious, to get a really fat, meaty sound that cuts through the mix, especially if you're doing some flashy stuff, I like to mic my amp with a good bass drum mic or a bass microphone, and then I also take a DI out into my digital audio workstation, and I have 2 tracks. They're not separate ones. They're going at the same time. So I have my DI signal and I have my bass amp mic'd, and then the DI sounds great, but when you add the amped mic to it and they're combined, it's just such a fat, beautiful tone. And then you can put some post-production edits on it. But with guitar, I have a great PV Triple X amp, but I use Logic Pro X. I love Logic's presets for all their tone.
Yeah, right.
If you guys listen to any of my videos, that guitar is straight DI. Some people like hate guitar DI, but I'm like, I feel like you need a good guitar, a good sounding guitar. I've already talked up my guitar. My guitar sounds great, but I don't even need to use my amp. I love the presets. I can get a nice fat distortion. My pitch harmonics that I do a lot are nice and clear, and it just sounds good to me. And as I said, all that matters, get something you like.
That is absolutely true. And you also got to remember, too, especially when you're doing the video thing like we're doing, a lot of these people are like watching it on like their phone and listening through the little speaker.
Keep that in mind.
And keep that in mind. So it's not like you have to spend thousands and thousands of dollars, and go through these elaborate recording processes.
No, definitely
because,
not.
With technology these days, those plugins you're talking about going straight into your audio interface, I mean, you get, really good sounds.
Yeah.
That most people, on their phone at least, if they hook up to monitors, maybe that's one thing, on their phone at least, you're not telling that much of a difference.
Definitely not.
You're really not. And you get to control your volumes, which is great for someone like me because, I have 3 kids and I record like in the middle of the night a lot. So
no, that is true. I can, you can, if you can practice without having to worry about being loud as much as, you definitely have to, a lot of people, I have a lot of friends in the recording world, you have to always try, like when I do a mix for like my videos, I listen to it on my cell phone, my iPad, my MacBook Pro.
In the car.
I'm in the car, Dropbox it to myself. I listen to it in every scenario. And then it's amazing how awesome things sound on my great speakers with my computer. And then I take it into my car and I'm like, this sounds like shit. So it's like
that's why you got to do it, man.
Yeah.
No, that's true. It's a really, really good point. I usually don't do it in the car just because I don't expect many people should be watching videos in the car.
Yeah, totally not.
But I definitely tested on the different TVs around my house and phones and stuff. And it's true. It's amazing how different things sound through different devices.
Yeah. Oh, and headphones too.
Yeah,
that's really the car headphones.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right. Not many people are watching.
They shouldn't at least.
They should be watching videos in the car. But one day, hopefully, and on Spotify or iTunes, if I can get any of my stuff on there, people can just be listening to it as not a video, just as audio.
Sure, sure. Well, that brings me to my next question. You do any other type of recording, or what other bands? What else do you do besides the teaching and the videos? Like, where else can people find you and hear your stuff?
Yeah, so the videos have definitely become the core kind of like my core focus. It's like a second job between thinking about it.
Should be. You're great at it, man. And people love your stuff. Keep doing it.
And then, but no, I play and I've played in many bands. I played in a rock band in high school. I was a jazz major. I play upright bass too. I also I played in a funk band for the longest time. A current band that I've been playing with, we're called J Pope and the Here Now. I play bass in that band. It's kind of a hip hop, soul, funky, jazzy type of band. It's got some, really cool stuff. That's my main gig right now. As I said, it being a second job, I haven't actually been trying to like put my name out there where I'm getting calls and doing sub gigs. I did that. I love the cover band stuff. I love all that stuff, and it's great and it's very healthy to add that to the mix. But it hasn't, at least at this point in my life, this last half year, I've been really spending a lot of time thinking about social media, and that's the world we live in. And you brought up a good point about how young the social media world is. Like, YouTube's like 10 years old.
It's true, man. It's true. And this is, I know that this really isn't like the focus of the channel. It's more of an educational channel. But it's really, really true that, it's 2017. It's about to be 2018. And for like anybody that's trying to, whether it's original music, whether they're trying to teach, kind of like I am, whether, whatever they're trying to do content-wise, it's so easy to get caught in the trap of, oh, there's so many other people that are so big, like, I'll never make any headway. And it's like, yeah, Instagram's only 5 years old. YouTube's only 10 years old. Facebook's a little older than that, but it's only been 4 or 5 years since people could watch HD video on their phone. It is the beginning. It is the birth.
Which is great. I mean,
like my kids, they follow kids on YouTube that have followers, like millions of followers.
Pretty crazy.
Like I don't know. Maybe instead of paying for private school tuition, I should get them started on a YouTube channel. No, I'm serious. It is the beginning. So
it's the beginning, man.
Definitely keep doing what you're doing. You're great at it.
Thanks.
And musically too. Especially that Beethoven one, man. I was super impressed with that.
Thanks, man. Yeah, that was a fun one. It's definitely I would love for it to take me some places in terms of just doing music as a career. When I say take me places, I mean just I'm already doing music for a living, but to that next level of just so happy that people are enjoying this, because it's like you do things for other people, but you also do things for yourself. It's not a selfish thing. I mean, I'm creating music. Oh, I wanted to do a classical music medley, but I'm not gonna play on piano. I'm gonna rock it out and be real funky and kind of go off on it. It's like I wanted to do that, and then now that people are enjoying it, it's just awesome. It's been the most fun I've ever had. I never thought it'd be the most fun I would ever have would be just would involve social media, because
it's crazy, man.
And it's crazy too, because I actually was never known. I'm still getting better at it to this day. With bands I've been in, I was never that person that was posting every week. I'm playing here this week. I'm playing here this week. I'm playing here. And I should have, but at the same time, I feel like a little bit of that's paid off is, where I've had a little bit, I definitely pick my spots as opposed to being just pushing things out there and kind of, I find that a little overwhelming sometimes. People got to do it, but if you're pushing, obviously you want people to come out to your shows, but if you're every second be like, oh, I'm playing here, come out.
Yeah, you can't spam your.
People are gonna burn out on wanting to see you, and not just you, but if people
true.
But people like your stuff, it helps. That's what's cool. So no, I got I'm playing right now, as I said, with my current band. I have another band that's I'm really excited about. Nothing real more to talk about. We don't have a band name. We're still trying out singers, but it's music that we're writing, and it's really fun.
All original.
So all original. All my bands are all original, unless I get a call, and I do some sub stuff with some bar bands, and those are a lot of fun. So now I've definitely had some versatile kind of bands in terms of funk band, hip hop band, rock band, cover band. I don't know what to call them. Andrew Freed music yet. I guess just doing covers right now. Yeah. Eventually, I'd love to, once I can build up a certain following, definitely be cool to do some original stuff. I got definitely some crazy stuff that I'm not ready to unleash because it's not it's not as popular as Harry Potter and classical music. But that's the point of doing this stuff. So when I finally can release it, maybe some people will be like, "That's cool." But yeah.
Awesome. Well, do you have a besides the Andrew Freed music on Facebook, and I'm also going to tag you on YouTube. You got a website? Anything else you want people to go check out?
Everything. Yes. So basically, if you could just remember my name, Andrew Freed Music. That's my website, andrewfreedmusic.com. My YouTube's Andrew Freed. Andrew Freed Music is both Facebook and Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Those are my main social media platforms. Facebook is the one that's had the most success. So definitely try and give that a like. And But Instagram too, I love it. I think Instagram isn't it connected to Facebook? Instagram is
Facebook
Facebook.
bought it.
Yeah, so I mean,
Facebook bought Instagram.
I love Instagram. It's cool. I definitely don't have as much of a following on that, but I would love to build it because you only get 60 seconds of video. So I've been posting my videos on Instagram, but after the 60 seconds, it cuts off.
Right.
And
right.
it says like, check it out on Facebook or YouTube. But no, I definitely need some more YouTube subscribers, more Instagram followers. So that's the goal, not to just have a following in one place, but I'll take what I can get.
Right on. All right. Well, let's play one more and we'll call it a day.
Awesome.
What you got? You want to suggest one?
Sure.
Wow.